tear down on the engine. I've basically taken out the intake manifold and tear it all down. So you got everything laid out. I'll take this one to work because as you can see, the intake runners are not in best of shape. Basically gonna do a rebuild on this intake manifold with all the gasket replaced. So I got my intake manifold back from the robo wash at work and I'll show you the results. As you guys can see, the robo wash did its job. However, there's a little bit more carbon buildup right at the back on the intake runners, like this one right here. So I'll probably just get a brush in there with degreaser and start cleaning the inside. And same in the inside over there. I've also painted the throttle body and the IAC valve. I've taken off the PCV valve from the intake manifold right there because that rubber hose was really brittle and it broke off. So I'm just gonna do a simple mod for that to fit in there again. Basically gonna start on taking apart parts of the cooling system. So, not sure how long that piece of glass has been there. Try and take it out. This to lever it off. Very brittle, so I'm just going to cut the hose. Thermostat housing out. Finally taken off the coolant pipe, and I had to take off the knock sensor in the back of the block and one of the intake manifold stud. Just take that off. So I got all these parts laid out ready to be washed and spray painted. same process as those two. So I got most of the stuff back from the robo wash. They're all prepped and ready for paint. Couldn't find any throttle body gasket for that motor, so I'm just going to make my own using gasket paper. So I'm just going to trace it out, punch a couple of holes and make it work. So just finished making my throttle body gasket and on to the next one. So finally cleaned up all the intake runners and painted the intake manifold. So most of the accessories has already been painted and we'll move on to the engine. So what I did for the engine is I basically covered the exhaust ports, the intake ports, the PCV breather box, the oil filter housing, and that coolant pipe that runs from the water pump to the thermostat. And for the rocker cover, I basically put on that old valve cover and wrapped it with plastic and sealed it with that aluminium tape that I have so water doesn't get into it. And this engine is ready to be washed. So if you guys want to build your intake manifold, this is a P30 intake manifold of a B16A2. These are the parts you need for the IAC valve, the throttle body, and the intake manifold gasket. That's the part you need. I've ordered the intake manifold, and as you guys know, we've made our own throttle body gasket. Intake manifold has already been assembled. Now we're just waiting for the gasket, and don't forget your spacers for the fuel rail. While we're waiting for parts for this intake manifold, I've gone ahead and painted the engine. I'm not really too worried about the valve cover condition because we're going to do something about it in the future, but as of now I am focusing on painting this engine block.